Joining me now is the maniac, Marcus McGhee, who picked up a round 2 RNC victory in his UFC debut at UFC Vegas 72 over Journey Newson. Marcus, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you joining me for a few minutes here today. And it's been, closing in on a week since the debut, the big win. I know you've been, doing the whole media thing, making your rounds. Has it sunk in by now? Or are you really kind of getting on with your life, or are you still kind of like riding that high?
So, for me, honestly, I think Q wanted it to sink in a little longer, but it sunk in for me when the moment was done. I was really there for it. I really got to feel everything I wanted to feel and really got to appreciate and be grateful for everything that I was able to be a part of. So for me, it sunk in right away. So, I was ready to get back to it. Had a little bit of foot injury, so I couldn't train like I wanted to at the beginning of the week, but got back to jujitsu like yesterday. So that's good. Got the foot checked out. We're good to go. So yeah, I'm just excited to keep on getting better and keep on thriving and showing the world who the maniac is.
Did the foot injury, did that happen in the fight?
Yes, it happened in the fight. Yep. So I mean, I kick hard and I place my kicks, but sometimes when you catch an elbow, it's like yeah, it is what it is. So I'm used to it. I know when it happens in fights too, and I'll usually just keep kicking with it. Like I don't even like I just like all right. Well, right the moment I feel, I'm like, yep, I'm kicking again.
Well, man, you looked fantastic in there, and everybody obviously saw the fight. We know the result. I want to go back first, and I just want to start with you getting this call because you took the fight on very short notice. I think it was like what, 3 days. It was a 140-pound catch weight bout. What was that thought process like when the UFC calls? You just say yes regardless, or was there any hesitation?
UFC calls, yes, you say yes regardless, right? And I mean, I've always been told that. My coaches always told me that, and I kind of always felt that too. I mean, obviously, I want to make sure that I'm healthy and able to come out and show the UFC who I am, even in the first fight, win or loss. So I wasn't gonna take it if like I was just too beat up to take it. I wasn't just gonna get fed because I want to give the fans. I want to give the fans what they pay for. I plan to do that every single time. I plan to bring every weapon I have and to explore everything I can inside that cage. So yeah, I was gonna say yes no matter what if the UFC called. And it was exciting because it was a crazy experience to get a call on that type of notice and to show up and to do everything as professionally as I was able to do it and handle the moment like I handled the moment. I mean, it felt really good to be able to do that.
What was the weight at when you got the call? Obviously, this fight was at 140. Normally, you'd fight at 135. Were you heavier than you would normally be?
Not if I was outside of camp. If I'm outside of camp, sometimes a lot of times I'll hover around 160. Like that's a me just enjoying life weight. Hovering around 160, not worried about a fight. Still in shape. I'm still in shape, but that's where I usually like to hover around. And then closer to the start of a fight camp, 6, 7 weeks out from a fight camp, I like to stay right around 55. But I was really looking for a fight this whole time, so I was trying to keep my weight around between 150 and 153. That's where I was like really keeping my weight right there because it's like I can have as much energy as I need to train as hard as I need to get better and still not be getting hurt and injured because my body's so drained. So when they called me, I was about 153. And yeah, at that moment, even if they said 36 right away, I was at 36 was going to be it.
Mhm.
But it was like that was a hard thing to do on 2 days notice. It's only 2 days notice for the weight cut. The fight might be 3 days out, but it was less than 36 hours for a weight cut.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. It's truly remarkable the weight that the professional fighters have to cut to make these short notice fights. And speaking of the short notice fight, we're seeing that a lot nowadays. And usually, as far as the betting odds go, some of these odds are all over the place. You get some massive favorites versus underdogs. You were an underdog according to the odds going into this one. Did you feel when you looked at Journey that was the case, or did you like this matchup when you accepted?
You know, I, I guess I look at it two ways. I always look at it as I'm the underdog, it's because I've always been the underdog. My story is the underdog story. So for me, it's like I'm the underdog, I'm comfortable with that. But on the opposite side of that, I always believe in myself. I believe that I can do anything. I believe that God has given me the ability and the mind and the heart to do anything. So I push myself with that beliefs every day of my life. So on the opposite side, it's like I was really confident in the fact that I could. My coaches, my team, they're really confident in the fact that I could, and that's what they were excited about. You know what? Not all the time do you get this type of short notice call, and you have somebody that you know could win the fight. And they were like, "We know you can win this fight. You know, not only just win, we know you can finish this fight." It was like, "We believe in you." And it was like in my mind, I was like, "I believe me too. I know I think I can finish anybody on any given night." And on my night, that's just how I really feel about it. And I always say it on the opposite side. I believe that about my opponents, any of them. It doesn't matter if they're the best opponent or the worst opponent I face. They all have two hands, they all have 2 feet, they all have hearts and minds, and they're flesh and blood, and they have a chance too. So it's like, I thrive off of that.
As far as the game plan going in here against Journey versus how the fight played out, did the fight play out how you guys thought it would? Run me through just looking back at it now.
Yeah, pretty much. I knew he was going to want to shoot after we got to striking. I mean, I think I make everybody want to shoot. Like I enjoy striking, and I think they can see it, especially once we start exchanging. They're like, "Dang, this guy's having way too much fun." Like this guy's enjoying this too much. Let's mix it up. We got to change his mind because he's just having too much fun. I really enjoy striking, and I like to be right there in the fire. I love being in the fire. So yeah, I thought he was going to end up shooting on me. I knew he was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so I figured he'd be looking to get a submission on me, possibly take the back because he had seen that I had my back taken and gotten submitted before. And that's what I just figured. But I also knew in my mind that if that was the case, then they were going to be running into the fact that I do have a pretty good jiu-jitsu skill set. And like, even though like I'm not a black belt in jiu-jitsu, like I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not maybe not in jiu-jitsu class, but I'm growing. I'm growing and getting better constantly, and even on the ground. And I think I'm a dangerous person on the ground too. So.
You say you obviously like striking. Are you one of those fighters? I've interviewed plenty of them in the past where they're like, I actually like getting hit. It gets me riled up and I kind of get into my zone. Are you one of those guys?
There was a point in my life where I was like that, but then I realized, no, I don't like getting hit. I don't want to get hit. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to get hit, but like, it's like, I'm willing to get hit. That's the difference, right? It's like, it's not that I want to, but I'm willing to put myself into that fire and put myself into that danger to do what I want. Like, I don't like going to the judges. I don't like going to decision period. Like I don't like boring fights. So if that means that I have to bring the heat, I'm bringing the heat. Like the fans are getting what they want, and I'm getting what I want because I want excitement. That's what I'm in this for. Like I'm an adrenaline junkie. There's a reason I skateboard and snowboard and do all these crazy things, parkour, and I've always loved adrenaline. I always loved how that calm feeling that you have in the midst of things that people think are crazy. So I enjoy it.
Run me through the finish. Could you tell that you were kind of wearing him down, maybe breaking his will as the fight progressed?
I think he did a good job of not showing me that. I know a lot of other people said that they saw it, and I usually do too. Like I'm pretty good about smelling that on somebody, but I didn't. I knew that he was worried about my striking, as he should be, right? Like we both should be worried about. We're both powerful guys, and I knew he was worried because I was landing shots, but I didn't feel like he wanted out. I felt like I felt like he wanted to win. Like there's still a lot of him that wanted to win in there. It was just he just was having a hard time finding a way to get it done.
Man, you look so relaxed in there. That was what was like surprising to me as a UFC, debut fighter here. You see so many guys that maybe they seem a little bit more tense, and you talk about octagon jitters. That a lot of fighters say it's a real thing. It looked like you didn't feel that at all. Is that accurate?
Yeah, crazy enough. And it's not that I won't even say that it's like there's not nervousness. There is, right? Like but it's mental nervousness in the back of my head that's like supposed to be there. It's like I've accepted that, right? I accept the nervousness that's supposed to be there because I accept that and I understand that it lets me be free. And when I step in the cage, and I do feel this crazy sense of like calm and like poise when I do step in the cage, and even more so the craziest part is that I felt that at the highest level in the UFC, because I felt like that was the most comfortable I've been the whole lead up to it. Everything just felt right. It just felt right, and I just felt like there was no other place where I was supposed to be. And I was excited to be there, and that's what I was thinking in my mind. Like, man, I'm excited to be here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm gonna perform.
And with that debut fight, you get the performance of the night bonus, that 50K. I mean, how nice is that? I know you're a family man. That must be just such a nice, bonus here to start off, springtime.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is that's a blessing as well. You know, like again, everything else could have happened and me not got the bonus, and it still would have been just as much a blessing. But yeah, I'm a family man. I got 4 kids, a wife, house, vehicles. You know, like been a working man for a long time. I worked really hard to be able to have the things I have. You know, and in fighting at the lower levels, you're not making enough money to support a family like that. So you know, it's been tough, and you know, I was spending money and putting money into myself as well. You know, because I believed in myself and my brand. So I've been in the rears on that too. So it's really nice to be able to solidify the fact that I've been working really hard towards something that we can go ahead and get, you know, and to be able to bring those finances in and keep it pushing.
How'd you celebrate the win?
So we didn't do anything too crazy, you know. I would like to go crazy and party and do the most too. Like I'm not even judging people for doing that. It's just that my lifestyle just doesn't allow me to do that, you know. So basically, all I did was go to the strip with my buddies. My foot was still beat up, so we walked around. You know, I was limping around the whole city, just checking stuff out. Even though I had won all that money, I didn't have any money in my account, so I couldn't really buy anything anyways. You know, I think I had $237 in my account, so I couldn't really buy anything anyways. So it was just get some pizza. I got they had some like different type of sherbet ice cream stuff that I was like, yeah, I got some of that. Uh yeah, and then just walked around with the buddies and hung out, enjoyed the city. And then we had a flight pretty early in the morning. So back to the hotel, ready for the flight.
Did you watch the rest of the card? I was curious, you know, if so, what were your thoughts on Song Yadong's performance and his win over Ricky Simone?
So I got to see the fights here and there because we were just catching it at different bars along the way, you know. Um, but I did see the Yang Sadong fight as well. And, you know, I've actually cornered against him with Kyler because Kyler Phillips is my training partner, and I've been to the UFC with him a bunch of times. So I was super interested, and I was with Kyler too. So you know, Kyler was looking on as well. Super interested to see how that was going to play out. So we were sitting there watching that one. Honestly, I enjoyed the fight. I like Ricky Simone a lot. I think that Jan Sedong is pretty good too. You know, I like him a lot too. But I think Ricky, I felt like Ricky could have done a really good job against Sedong if he just let it go a little bit more. You know, like I feel like he has good boxing, he good head movement. I feel like there's things about him I didn't notice that he had that I was like, man, he's looking good out there. But I mean, to say he was getting caught with those shots, you know, he wasn't firing, and Sedong was firing, and Song was firing. So I think that was the biggest thing I took away from that. He was sitting down his punches and kept on just pushing the pressure on him. And I think, you know, Simone didn't let go as much as he probably could have because I think he has a great gas tank and he looked like he had really good head movement in boxing. I'd like to see those hands fly.
Mm. The 135 titles on the line this weekend. You got Cejudo, the former champ, against Aljo, the current champ. Give me your prediction here. How do you see this fight shaking out?
Yeah, so on one podcast, I said I had Aljamain, right? And it's not that I don't think Aljamain will get it because I do think Aljamain is going to get it. But man, just betting against Henry is a hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a bet against him when he fights Sugar because that's my boy. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. And I think Sugar has a lot different. Sugar has different arsenal also against him. And the thing about Aljamain has striking, but it's not as crisp. It's not as direct. It's not intentional. Like Israel said, he's not aiming and firing, right? He's just going, you know what I'm saying? He's not picking his shots. So I think a guy who picks shots against a guy like Henry is the type of guy that's going to really frustrate Henry because he's not going to be out of place, you know? Thing about Aldrain is he puts himself out of place a lot of times, but then we go into his funky wrestling, you know? It's like, man, I think he's going to be able to create some scrambles and create positions on Henry. So again, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Aljamain. That's what I think I'm going to do. But I wouldn't be surprised if Henry Cejudo gets it done as well.
You're 32 years old now. You're 7-1 as a pro. How do you feel you fit into this bantamweight division? Like, where do you see yourself? You know, 6 months, a year from now.
I see myself climbing up the rankings. Like I do think I'm gonna be one of those top fighters. I still believe in it. And I know I'm 32. I'm a young 32 though. You know, like I'm not an older 32, and I don't want people to take that lightly either, and that be the reason why they lose against me. You know, like I'm a young 32. I'm very hungry. I'm very more than capable of doing this. And there's a lot of guys I look up to that have started later at my age and are in the top of the game. Josh Emmett is one of them. You know, look where he's at right now. You know, he was in the UFC. I think he got in the UFC around 7-1 as well. And look at him, you know, top 5. So why not me? Why not me? You know, like I just what I keep telling myself. I'm gonna I'm gonna show up every day and prove who I am to myself. And then through doing that, I think I'm gonna prove to the rest of the world that I'm a top contender.
What's the perfect time frame for your next fight? And would you like to get a full camp in?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to get full camp in. I would love to have a good opponent too that makes sense. So I already said I would love July International Fight Week would be great. That's a lot of publicity. That's a lot. I've never been to an International Fight Week, so it'd be cool to fight at the beginning of the week and then be able to enjoy the rest of the week at the International Fight Week. That would be just awesome. You know, me and my wife haven't went anywhere in a while, so that'd be like an excuse to kill two birds with one stone, fight, and then enjoy the weekend with my wife. So that'd be cool. I think August would probably be the perfect though, right? Because that gives me plenty of time to get a little bit better and get back into camp. Because I'm getting better even in camp, but that's you make a lot of growth outside of camp when you're really dedicating yourself to your craft. And inside of camp, we're really just wrapping it up and trying to do the best we can as far as turning it up. So um, yeah, I think that'd be in August, or if I can get on that card with Mario in August too, that'd be so cool. You know, like I would love to fight with my teammates. You know, so that sounds like a good time too.
I love it, man. Well, after your debut performance, I can speak for all the people around my area. They're excited to see you back in there, whenever that may be. Again, the maniac Marcus McGhee gets a big win at UFC Vegas 72 over Journey Newson. Great interviewing you today for the first time, my man. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. Please tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you have anyone to thank, anything to plug, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on again. Hopefully, we can do this again with a couple more $50,000 bonuses. You know, put it out there into the universe. But yeah, I'd love to to thank the MMA Lab first and foremost. I'd love to thank God for giving me the strength to do these things. I'd love to thank my family for taking care of me, my wife and kids, and then my sponsors. I have great sponsors. I got G4 out here in Arizona, great cannabis company. I also got Hulu. I also got Recovery, which is another great company taking care of me. Or excuse me, That One Tattoo Shop. So many good people that have helped me. Trinity Management that's helped me. Iridium Sports that's got me this opportunity. I'm just so thankful for all of it. And then also, I just started my own podcast called Punches and Pints. I did put up a post fight interview on there that goes pretty deep in. It's about an hour long, so I get pretty intimate about exactly how everything was for me in there. So you can go check out my Punches and Pints Instagram and my Punches and Pints YouTube and check that out if you like. I'll be coming out with a cooking show soon as well on my YouTube. Just trying to bust out there and do as many things as I can. And then also you can find me on pretty much any platform. I don't know exactly off the top of my head what my TikTok is, but I definitely my Instagram is maniac_McGhee MMA, and then my Twitter is Maniac McGhee 07. And then you can find me on Facebook as well, just Marcus McGhee on Facebook. Yeah, those are pretty much my socials.